Inside the Zizians, how a cultish crew of radical vegans became linked to killings across the United States. What is this? Is this important in any meaningful way, or is it just like a human interest story?
Northern California, a radical vegan group.
Of course it's Northern California. It's always up there.
Group known as the Zizians emerged, linked to 6 mysterious deaths. Their story intertwines with a complex web of ideology and tragedy. In 2019, 4 masked protesters disrupted a retreat of the Center for Applied Rationality, accusing it of various wrongdoings. The protest, led by Ziz, ended with police intervention and allegations of mistreatment. Ziz, a vegan computer scientist, developed a unique philosophy blending rationalism
Glorps in chat if you remember the real Ziz.
and anarchism. According to Ziz, a vegan computer scientist, developed a unique philosophy blending rationalism and anarchism. According to her blog, Ziz failed to secure a steady job and a place to live, all while transitioning to female and facing prejudice for it. Her beliefs, centered on animal rights and anti-establishment ideals, attracted a following of young, ideologically driven individuals. Tensions escalated in Vallejo, California, where Ziz's group clashed with landlord Curtis Lind. A violent confrontation left Lind and a tenant injured and another tenant dead, leading to murder charges against group members. As the group scattered, further violence unfolded, including a deadly shootout in Vermont. The enigmatic Ziz remains elusive, her influence casting a long shadow over a series of tragic events.
Cool. Who is the Ziz? Didn't you hear the enigmatic Ziz? You don't know. It's always Silicon Valley, isn't it? Completed an internship at NASA. Like many tech workers, she'd been drawn to the rationalist subculture and the closely intertwined effective altruist movement. Okay, so psychopath. I mean, obviously we already knew that based on the whole, like, cult murder shit. Listen, okay? If you're getting a bad read off someone, I'd rather someone be a cultist murderer than a fucking effective altruist, okay? Christ, that shit's crazy. She shared some rationalist belief that AI would soon attain godlike power and destroy humanity if not... Yeah, they're all the same people. It's all of these fucking Silicon Valley schizo freaks who treat AI like it's some kind of god. They're anti-sociological. They literally, like, don't believe in society. And all of their belief systems, like, round back to how do I, like, most rapidly accumulate power and influence for myself at the expense of others, while also feeling like doing so is like the mandate of humanity. Like, you're not just doing it for selfish reasons. You're actually, like, fulfilling a preordained, you know, scripture of your ascension that is to the benefit of all. You know, it's just psycho shit. There's so many people in Silicon Valley that are like this. Even so, she found friends among the rationalists. One of them was Gwen Danielson, another trans woman who developed a psychological theory that every person has multiple personalities within themselves, as well as techniques meant to awaken these personalities. We just need to arrest everyone in Silicon Valley. All of these people are mentally ill. Look at how she parts her hair, fucking psycho. You're calling people out in chat who probably don't want to be called out, but I understand. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Ziz and Danielson embarked on a plan to build a rationalist fleet of rehabilitated old boats that could offer cheap housing to talented young compatriots, freeing them to devote their energies to saving the world. Classic cult shit. Classic, classic, classic. Oh, hold on. We have a guest. 1 second. Capella.
Hold on. Careful. I picked her up and she yelled. So.
She active? She rowdy?
Yeah, careful. She's a little squirmy.
When is your belly fur gonna grow back? Wow. You're so wiggly. Mwah. She wants to run around. Be free. There she goes. Off on an adventure. Let me see. Cult shit. They bought a nearly century-old tugboat named the Caleb in Alaska and sailed it down to the coast of the Bay Area. Okay. Forged links to a think tank. Danielson presented some of her psychological techniques at the 2017 CFAR alumni retreat. Meanwhile, on her blog, Ziz was developing her own branch of EA and rationalist philosophy, strange, dense, and full of unusual jargon, such as anti-ethics, dichotomy leakage, and timeless gambits. You know, part of being a public figure is that every once in a while, people will email me something that is essentially a manifesto, and it's always something along the lines of, Vaush, I think I have solved society. I think I have solved politics. Sometimes they're even like, I have developed a new grand unification theory of everything in, like, physics or whatever. Here is my massive document. Now I need you to bring this to the world. You know, you have the platform, I have the genius. It's time for you to basically, like, this is your purpose now, is to, like, present this. And to the extent that I read these manifestos, which I largely don't, they are full of shit like this. Because everybody has, like, especially schizos, have a vague idea of what a, like, genius theorician sounds like, but because they're not one themselves, they only imitate the cultural understanding of what one is supposed to sound like, where you are constantly making up new terms and imposing jargon and trying to, like, force people to follow you down your, like, weird thought path rather than, like, building the argument up from the ground. Dark Souls NPC language? To a large extent, yes. See this shit all the time. You don't mean actual schizophrenic? I mean, they might be actual schizophrenics. Like, you know. It's happened at least half a dozen times in the 5 years that I've been doing this. Given all these absolutely insane beliefs, the inclusion of just vegan in the article title is meant to farm outrage. I agree. Like, it seems like the driving philosophy here that's leading to this cult is the like rationalist Silicon Valley shit. So, like, being trans, being vegan, these seem, at least at this point in the story, incidental. They don't seem to be like the driving, you know. Ultimately, her creed was anarchist and vegan. Uh-oh. Okay, you can't be anarchist while also being a effective altruist, okay? Come on. This isn't real whatever. People have been misusing the term for so long. She felt that she lived in a society of flesh-eating monsters, the most rationalist, drastically undervalued non-human life. Any future super AI she believed must benefit animals too. That's great. The deck of the Caleb. Holy shit. They slapped solar panels on this 100-year-old tugboat. Sure. I mean, whatever. Kind of goes hard. There's an aesthetic here. There's an aesthetic here. Solar panels love to be walked on. That's my understanding too of solar panels. Cold falls apart. Protested at CIFA. Things are going great, I assume. A deadly confrontation at a California trailer yard. Is this the 80-year-old landlord? This guy looks amazing for 80. They were unhappy with living on the tug. They decided they wanted to move to my yard and buy moving vans. They could live in the moving van. Nobody would know they're in there. He described himself as pretty friendly with some of them, friendly enough that I took one of them to Walmart to buy her first bra. Okay, yeah, this seems like cult shit. Seems pretty, like, you know, par for the course, I guess. In August 2022, Ziz faked her death. Oh, man. On the day, Lind alleged one of the tenants tricked him into bending down to turn off the water supply and then attacked him without provocation, driving a samurai sword into his chest. At that time, I pulled out my pistol and started shooting. I would also do that if somebody stabbed me with a katana, I think. Sorry, the reason I'm not reading this is because this is getting a little bit more granular. Why does America churn out endless cults? A sick society with a lot of empty space in between the cities. And, yeah, and no mental health care, exactly. Huh. Well, sorry, I guess I don't have a strong conclusion to that. I was mostly reading it out of, like, my own personal interest in the subject, because it's pretty wild. I don't really have, like, a cap off to that. It's not really a segment. I'm just reading it.